Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today what we're going to go over is my personable review of Spider-Man 2. Now this is going to be a spoiler-free video. The only footage going to be utilized is from the trailers that have been released previously to the game itself being released. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we're going to go over is that personable review from me to you. No holds barred. I'm not going to beat around the bush, not going to lie to you, not going to inflate anything, not going to downplay anything either. So, we're going to get right to it and just get to the meat of the game itself. Now, me, as you can tell here, as well as many other things I'll have to start posting here towards the end of this review, but I am a huge Spider-Man fan. What does that mean? That means that I'm not going to be biased because I'm a huge fan. You would think that that's what that means. But if you sit back for a moment and realize if you were a major fan of something, you're going to critique that game or that media or whatever that's part of wholeheartedly, right? You want it to see what's best for the series, to the IP, to the characters that you've grown up and loved, to the property, all that stuff, every nook and cranny. So me coming in, you have to have somewhat of an open mind, right? This is an entire new universe that Insomniac has created for Spider-Man. It's its own universe, its universe, whatever it is. I forget the number off the top of my head, but it's not the strict, main Peter Parker universe. So we're going to have a lot of differences and stuff like that, and that's okay. But that being said, like I said, it's still easy to critique certain things, and that's where you're going to be a little more hard on some stuff. But diving into the game, we're going right through it. I've been waiting quite some time. I've been very excited for it. Even from the past Spider-Man games, from Insomniac, Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered, all that stuff. The character models are all fantastic. The voice acting has been fantastic. We see pretty much everybody reprise their roles. For anybody that will be showing up or rumored to show up, anybody that would be coming back, they will be reprising those voice casting roles, and they have. So that's a great thing. Everybody just knocks it out of the park. That's number one, right? They make everything believable because you're used to them, and it just really brings that believability to the game itself. Now, that being said, before we get to like the game mechanics and everything else, I want to tackle the story so I don't end up, trying to spoil anything. I'll touch on this really lightly. The story is phenomenal. This made it very difficult. One of the main reasons why it was very difficult to put down. The story was really well done. In the spoiler cast, one that we will do in the future here, I will go over this in more detail, of course, but there's just a couple little tweaks at the end that I personally, again, as a critiquing Spider-Man fan, would like to have seen done a little bit differently. But that's not to say that this was not done very, very well. And again, this is Insomniac's vision. This is their detailed plan. We are definitely going to get a trilogy at the very least out of this, if not some other spin-offs and so on. So keep that in mind. So just we know what's going on. The characters you've seen, I'm not even going to name them. That's how loosely based I'm going to make this. I'm not even going to name the characters. You'll see them. So if you're a casual fan or you're new to Spider-Man, I want everything from this video to be absolutely brand new to you. And if you want to come back later and see the spoiler review or in talks discussion, whatever I intend to call that one, we'll go over that. But I felt like this was very, very special. The story was very special. It does so well with all the characters we've seen previous to Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And that's to say that, the character arcs do continue on and they develop more. They develop more for every character. Mary Jane, Miles, Spider-Man, the villains, the side characters, stuff like that. Everybody has a great arc and they feel not shoehorned in. Insomniac took everything that we had to complain with the previous one and just fixed it. They fixed it or they did better. And that's what was really great. So let's move on from the story aspect and the characters aspect, because again, I don't want to get into any spoiler talk there, but let's get to the gameplay. What I can talk about that's very spoiler free is going to be the web swinging has been tweaked a bit. It feels a little heavier, just a little bit, and feels better than before. The web swinging feels more fluid than before. The wingsuit, the web wingsuit that you're going to be seeing in these videos are also fantastically well done. I was not sure about it. I was a little skeptical because I want my Spider-Man to swing, whichever Spider-Man I'm playing, whether it's Miles Morales or Peter Parker. I want them to swing and do their tricks and perch and all this stuff. Well, what you come to find out much sooner than later is you can really integrate the web wings and the web swinging and everything else. It's just an added feature, and it helps you close the gap. It helps you traverse over and through buildings just as easy, but it feels very fluid. It feels great with the web swinging integrated as well. You can alternate, you can change it up, whatever you want to do. It is absolutely phenomenal. I think is one of the best features in the game that they did implement. The other implementations here are obviously, they don't have suit abilities. Everything else is streamlined. You just get abilities. So you don't have to worry about that. I honestly think that's a great idea, and it benefits it a lot more. So I don't have to worry about mixing and matching suits based on abilities. We know what abilities we want to put in per whichever Spider-Man that you want to utilize at that point in time, given you're not forced to play a certain Spider-Man due to the story. So that's what's great as well. So I think that works in its benefit. I know some people are coming back saying, nah, I wish they had the suit powers though. Yes and no. I mean, was it a cool feature? I think so, but I think this is more, again, streamlined, and that's the key word of this entire game and how they've done stuff is it's been streamlined. That being said, the side missions as well, tackling on an offshoot of the story, the side missions also are very, very, very well done. Every single one ties into either the previous game of Spider-Man or Miles Morales, and then the new ones tie into the main story. So it doesn't feel like, gosh, I'm getting this kid's lost balloon, or I'm picking up, errands and mail for somebody to deliver. No, it's not as loosely based as that anymore. Everything really ties together. You also have, your crimes that pop up, but now there's not a certain amount of crimes you have to do. They're just fluidly throughout the districts this time, and there's an infinite amount. It just helps you with tech points that you use to get abilities and powers and upgrading gadgets and other things like that. So that's really cool too. And there's a lot of variety within the crimes, of course, again, even more so. Some of the other ones kind of return with the car chase mechanic, stopping the car. But however, there's little nuances, again, to make it streamlined. So you don't have to sit there and pound the square button to stop the truck or the car. You just stop it automatically once you do there and you do the timed punches and stuff. So just a few little tweaks. It just makes it that much better. That being said, let's go ahead and throw in the black cat of it, right? No pun intended. The other missions with Mary Jane that you'll be utilizing. Yes, Mary Jane is back if you are unaware to be utilizing her missions. We know hers and Miles Morales's in Spider-Man, 2018 was not fun at all. Certain aspects of it might have been okay, but it was not fun, right? And Insomniac really listened, and I'm not going to give anything away about the missions themselves or how you'll be tackling those, but they're actually fun. I enjoyed every single Mary Jane mission in there. Contrary to popular belief, again, I'm not just saying that because I despised the ones in Spider-Man 2018. They weren't fun. There's aspects to it. It was like, okay, it's okay at certain points, but ultimately it was a drag down. It was a slow down, if you will. So that being said, I think, especially let's put it this way: if you're a fan of Metal Gear Solid, you're going to enjoy some of those missions with Mary Jane. She really comes into her own, and it's just a lot of fun, and there's just some awesome stuff to it. So I'm very impressed there as well. But let's move on. Let's not make this too long. And then let's go over the suits real quick, right? The suits are phenomenal as well. A lot of them, I will say, a lot of them do return. I'm not going to, again, spoil any costumes of what do return or what the new ones are, but the ones that return are great. If you enjoyed some of those from the past games, you're going to see some of those return for better or worse, depending on who you are. And then there's some fantastic new ones and some great Easter egg new ones as well that I thought was great and had a lot of fun with. And it was just the hardest part of the game to me was choosing which costume I wanted to wear, because I had to really internally struggle with myself on which costume I did want to utilize. So really, I think you guys are going to be truly enjoying a lot of those costumes. Worth unlocking every single one, in my opinion. What's great about those two is some of the costumes you do get to customize and unlock different color combinations. And at first I was like, I don't want to do that. Who cares? Just give me the original. No, it actually makes a lot of sense on some of the costumes and the color variations. So really glad they did end up adding that in, contrary to my belief at first. That being said as well, the map, right? The map's pretty much similar for the most part. They added on a whole nother section, but it's a great added section. It just makes it more fleshed out. I mean, Coney Island to me was a standout with all the rides and carnival rides and how that's integrated within the story as well. But just a lot of great locales and stuff like that. And again, you can streamline. The fast travel is so quick in the map. You can go wherever you want, whenever you want. Once you unlock fast travel per district, at first I'm like, oh, what a bummer, but it didn't take long at all to unlock fast travel in each little district there. So keep that in mind too. Moving on from there, gosh, what can I say? Let's go over some of the possible negatives here. Let's go over, first of all, the length, right? The length is not super long. I'm, at the time of this recording, 2 trophies away from platting it. I'll probably plat it within the next day or two after this recording. And it's not a super hard plat. A couple of them are a little skill-based to a point, but for the most part, it's about just being Spider-Man and enjoying the game in general. And that's the best part about it. However, so overall, to even get the plat, if you're going beelining the story, you're going to finish this even quicker. But to get that platinum, depending on your skill level, you are probably going to reach that platinum in anywhere from 30 to 35 hours, and the game is completely done. Now, there is no new game plus at this point in time. They plan on implementing this in a future patch this year, more likely in November. However, there is an ultimate difficulty unlocked after you do beat the game. So you do have the opportunity to go in, play it on a harder difficulty and such if you wish to do so. Now, what I will say is I don't know about the rest of the adults out there, but if you have a job, you have a relationship, a spouse, family, whatever, as well as, a full-time job, doing a game that is longer than 30 hours long, especially including the possible platinum, it's difficult. I can't jump into a game like Assassin's Creed Origins or Valhalla or The Witcher 3 and expect myself to get all I can out of it, or to have time to dive into that at this point in time, while having a full-time job and everything else. It's near impossible to do so without severely ignoring other games, and I already have a very large back catalog. So in my opinion, I think that is the perfect sweet spot. 30 to 35 hours I think is phenomenal. I think more games need to follow suit. It wouldn't hurt to have some sort of multiplayer aspect or something like that to keep the player engaged if they want to do more than that without taking a break and coming back to the game later, which is be the one and done, which I don't believe in one and dones. If you enjoy the game, you're always going to come back to it. So I think that's a positive in the length. Now, the only main downside that I have on this game, personally, is there bugs on this game. Now, this is going to vary from person to person. I've heard a lot of folks stating that they've had a lot of bugs in here. Anywhere from 15 to 30 bugs and instances they had from beginning to end. Me, personally, I was 6 hours in, almost 7, before I got my first real bug. And when I say bug, I mean, there was a part where I couldn't latch onto, I couldn't web swing to, and no matter what I did, it just wasn't happening. So what did you have to do? I had to just close the game, reboot it up, instantaneous, getting right back in right where I was, and then it worked. I didn't have anything fully stopping me until after I almost beat the game. There is a side mission that after you collect a certain amount of whatever, the final mission of this pops up. Now, that location popped up right at first, and Genki was telling me about it, and I had to go do it. Okay, well, I fast traveled somewhere else, and when I got done with doing that, I noticed the icon was not there. I could not get to it. I even looked it up, knew where the location was. It would not proc. So that was a trophy one. What I had to do is, thankfully, it does have autosave backups, and I had to back up about an hour and a half just to get that trophy to pop real quick and go do it. It did thankfully drop there, but that could have been a potentially platinum hindering experience there, where I would have had to have played the full game again and hope for the best. But that was the worst of the bugs that I experienced. I didn't experience anything else, like I'm clipping through walls, NPCs clipping through walls, crashes, stuff like that. Not one instance. I had probably like 3 or 4 sessions, 3 of those again, where I couldn't web swing or something like that through another section in the story. And I just, again, closed it down, reopened it. I popped up, not a big deal. The one that was the biggest deal, like I said, was my side mission, what I was trying to do. That kind of put a sour taste in my mouth of like, well, that kind of sucks. But stuff happens. I'm not going to give it a pass. I don't think that should have happened, but thankfully it had auto-save backups. I've never seen auto-save backups do as many. Until recently when I played Baldur's Gate 3, it did that as well and constantly filled up a bunch of autosave backlogs. So that being said, that is the worst of the experience. But again, I was able to overcome that because of the autosaves, and we are good to go. Now, to wrap this up in a synopsis here, I do want to say as an entire whole experience, I was completely glued to this game. It was very difficult to put down. It was very difficult not to find myself smiling, tensing up my muscles as I'm playing through certain parts, getting goosebumps at certain parts, wanting to know what's going on. I felt like going ahead to collect everything. I felt like doing every single side mission possible because I wanted all of it. I wanted all of the lore. I wanted all of the story. I wanted that complete experience. And that's exactly what I got from this game. At this point in time, before, even with Spider-Man 2018, as good as it was, as good as Miles Morales was, it's still, that crown, that gold crown went to Batman Arkham City because that game was just so fleshed out, so well done with the Rogues Gallery, the side stuff, the feel, the theme, everything was just so well done, the boss fights. But I have to say, and again, this is not me being biased because I enjoy Batman, and I thoroughly enjoyed and was okay with Batman Arkham City being the go-to, the definitive definition and version of a superhero game and what that entailed. That was fine holding that crown. Well, at this point in time, Spider-Man 2 has in fact taken that crown. It has in fact blown my mind. My jaw was on the floor. Like I said, I have not experienced these types of emotions since playing a superhero game since forever. It's been like forever. And again, since maybe even Batman Arkham City, and I was never feeling what I felt now. I felt good and I felt tense in certain moments, and I did really enjoy that story and the twist at the end and everything. But this just totally encapsulates everything. So I cannot speak highly enough of this game. It is near perfect. As a matter of fact, it basically is perfect. When I say near perfect, it's because of some critiques I have in the story towards the very end. That's just me personally that I would like to have seen a little bit different, but that's it. That's a me issue, not a game issue and not a story issue on Insomniac's part. And then of course the bugs. But again, my experience and my wife's experience, my son's experience, they have not had game-breaking bugs where they could not do anything or it took them out of the experience. So very minor things. So I can't knock a point for that. I could, but it's just not enough. The pros just certainly outweigh this, any negative instances that this game would have portrayed. So at this point in time, I must say, I have to give Spider-Man 2, without a question, without a shadow of a doubt, a 10 out of 10. And I believe, personally, this should be, I know all the Baldur's Gate fans out there, Baldur's Gate 3 fans out there, wanting that to be Game of the Year, and rightfully so. It does have the opportunity and should also have a fair opportunity to win Game of the Year. But for me, and what I truly believe, is Spider-Man 2 is the Game of the Year, because I have not experienced anything like that, and I had a very difficult time putting this game down. That is how good it is. So, with that being said, hopefully this review helped you out. If you're not aware of the game, if you haven't tried it out yet, let me know down in the comments below what you think about that. If you have already played it, please share your experiences as well. And if you agree, disagree, all that good stuff, that is totally fine. If you haven't already, definitely leave a like as well. If you haven't, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. Thank you all so much again. We are at 772 subscribers out of 1,000. We are so close. I appreciate that. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we will see you next time on the next Xvault gaming video. And until then, take care.